Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video, we're going to show you the river turbidity estimation using Sentinel-2A imagery in our ArcPy and ArcGIS Pro, the basic automation to research grade workflows. So now let's get started. So a river turbidity represents the level of suspended sediments in water, also indicating the water clarity or how clear is the water. It is mainly caused by the presence of silt, algae in the water body or industrial waste disposed in the river by mining activity, industrial operation and logging. Traditionally, a turbidity is analyzed by evaluating the water samples taken during a field measurement. However, field studies are expensive, time and labor intensive. So, thus, a good alternative to field survey measurement is the satellite remote sensing data, which can capture both spatial and temporal variations in the river turbidity level. Accordingly, a Sentinel-2 multispectral data is used in the current study to evaluate the changes in river turbidity during pre-monsoon and post-monsoon season near Allahabad city, India. So the city is situated in the northern part of India, is the confluence of two major rivers, that is Ganga and its tributary river Yamuna. The millions of people depends on the water from these rivers, yet both the rivers are heavily polluted by industrial waste and by sewage this video in ArcGIS Pro Python notebook, we will elaborate the steps to measure this changes in turbidity using ArcGIS API for Python for our spatial analysis from basic automation to research grade workflows. So before getting into the analysis part, let me explain about this analysis. So river turbidity, which represents the level of suspended sediments in water, also indicating the water clarity or how clear is the water. It is mainly caused by a presence of silt, algae in the water body or industrial waste disposed in the river by mining activities or industrial operations and logging. So, for example, the below image here, which shows the three distinct state of the water here. So, the first which shows the low turbidity level, you can able to see which is clear, and followed by the second which represents the moderate level of turbidity, and the third class which represents the high turbidity, which includes the high level of suspended sediments from various anthropogenic sources. So this is the different distinct classification between low turbidity versus the high turbidity. So in this video, we're going to specifically explain about each of the steps which involves in estimating the river turbidity using Sentinel-2A imagery. So the objectives here, starting with automate the extraction of water bodies from Sentinel-2 satellite imagery using a normalized difference water index. And followed by, we're going to generate a binary water mask that separates the river pixels from the land, vegetation and urban areas using thresholding technique. And the third objective would could to compute a normalized difference turbidity index to estimate the relative water clarity sediment load from the multispectral bands. And the fourth objective it could include to restrict turbidity analysis exclusively to water pixels by masking the NDTI raster, which is normalized difference turbidity index raster with a water boundary, eliminating the land-induced noises. And our fifth objective could include the enhancing the visual interpretation of turbidity pattern using percent clip, stretch, and the color mapping. And last, it could include comparing the turbidity between two dates, the before and after a storm or seasonal changes using a raster differencing. So these are the major objective of our analysis. So the next is why estimate the river turbidity from space. So turbidity, which refers to the cloudiness or haziness of the water caused by suspended particles, which includes the sediment, algae, and pollutants. So traditionally, we include field sampling, and which is expensive and spare and time consuming. And the second is a satellite method, which is regular, synoptic, and historical archive, and which includes various applications, starting with to monitor the construction runoff, and the second application to assess the flood sediment transport, and the third could include the water quality appliances, example the drinking water reservoir. So here we have two different images which showing the high turbidity versus the low turbidity here. So the high turbidity has a high level of sediment load in this river. You can able to see from this image. And this is the image which showing the river which carrying a huge amount of sediment during its course from upstream to downstream. And similarly here you can able to see this the water carries a high level of sediment, and similarly this particular one, so this is a distinction between the water which carries a high level of sediment versus the low level of sediment, so which includes this includes the high turbidity versus the low turbidity. Basically it is the sediment load. And the datasets we're going to use is the satellite, it's a Sentinel-2A imagery, which is free global coverage and with 5 days revisit time. And the bands, we're going to use our 10-meter bands, starting with the blue, which is B2, which is 490 nanometers, and green band, which is and the green band, that is band 3, which has a wavelength of 560 nanometers, and followed by the red, the B4 band, which has 665 nanometers. And last is we have our near infrared band, which has a wavelength of around 842 nanometers. So again, we're going to include the study area shapefile, a polygon that defines your river or your study region. And two optional state we're going to include to compare the turbidity before and after an event. For example, before, during pre and post monsoon period, or we can say the river turbidity during pre monsoon period versus the post monsoon period, post monsoon season, to see the change detection. And next. So this is an image showing the level of turbidity during different months here. You can able to see from this image. So starting it kind of has a moderate level of turbidity, and towards in September, October, November, we have a clear water. So this is a typical example of a lower turbidity versus the high turbidity. So high turbidity has a high level of sediment load. And the methodology for this analysis, so we're going to use a Sentinel-2A imagery. And the next step is we're going to generate NDWI, which is Normalized Difference Water Index, using band 3 and band 8 of Sentinel-2A imagery. And similarly, we're going to generate NDTI, which is Normalized Difference Turbidity Index, using band 3 and band 4. And in this NDWI, once generated, we're going to apply some binary raster, and we're going to apply some threshold to get out the water mask from this image of NDWI. And similarly for NDTI, we're going to use our so we're going to generate the NDTI raster, and based on the suitable threshold, we're going to just select all the high turbidity versus the low turbidity areas, and we're going to clip using our study area boundary, so to clip out all the river areas, which is the input geometry. And the next step could includes environmental setup. So before any analysis, we prepare our GIS environment. So which includes set the workspace. For example, the folder where the Sentinel-2 bands and shapefiles is stored. And next is could ensure the overwrite is allowed, so we can rerun without deleting older files. And last, it could include check out the spatial analyst extensions, so needed for raster math and masking. And a clean and organized environment prevents file not found errors and makes the workflow reproducible. So once you set up the environment, the next step it could be of to load the study area boundary. So the study area shapefiles is so we're going to define our region of interest, and we're going to use those study area shapefile as a geometry is to extract it. So this extracted geometry, this will be used to clip the satellite bands. So why we clip? So to reduce the processing time. So we don't need the whole satellite Sentinel-2A scene. So we're going to focus specifically on our river corridor. So next, we're going to load and clip our required bands here. So first, we're going to load 4 bands as a raster objects. For example, the green, red, and NAR, and optionally the blue for color composites. So each band is clipped to study area polygon using a mask extraction operation. So after the clipping, we have 4 rasters that exactly matches the river extent, all with same 10-meter cell size. And the next step is we're going to compute the NDWI, which is Normalized Difference Water Index. So the formula for NDWI, it is green minus NAR divided by green plus NAR, which gives the Normalized Difference Water Index. So this particular one is useful as the water strongly reflects the green light, but absorbs the near infrared. And the clean water to high NDWI, which is the positive, and the vegetation soil to a low or a negative NDVI, which is the then water presence is going to give us a positive NDWI value, and in case of vegetation or soil, it's going to give us a negative NDWI value. And NDW helps us to separate the water from lands automatically. So as you can see from this image here, so all the blue areas here which indicates the water, and other colors, for example the green which indicates the vegetation, and the white which indicates the urban areas as well as the uncultivated lands here. So you can able to see from this image. And next is to we're going to create a binary water mask. So we apply a threshold to NDWI image. For example, the NDWI raster, we're going to apply a threshold value which is greater than 0.3 or 0.03, considered as in a water areas. So output of this result could be a binary raster, which includes 1, for example, represents water, and 0, which can indicate a non-water areas, for example, the land, vegetation, and urban areas. And this mask will later restrict the turbidity analysis to only water pixel to select only the water pixel areas. The next step is we're going to convert this water mask to a polygon. So the binary raster is converted to a vector polygon, one polygon for each continuous water body. So then we dissolve all water polygons into a single boundary using a multi-part polygon. So why we vectorize? So it is easier to visualize, edit, or export as a shapefile, and can be used as a precise mask for the later raster extraction. And next is we're going to compute the NDTI, which is a Normalized Difference Turbidity Index. The formula which is used is NDTI, which is equals to red minus green band divided by red plus green band. So this particular index works because the turbid water reflects more red light than the clear water. The clear water reflects more green light. So the high NDTI to high turbidity, which indicate high NDTI value, which indicates high turbidity, and the low NDTI value is going to give us the negative NDTI to a clear water. So high NDTI, which means the sediment suspended water, and low NDTI, which indicates the clear water. Next is we're going to perform the two date comparisons and change detection. So we're going to repeat the entire workflow for the second Sentinel-2 date here. For example, before and after a rainfall or a storm. So in that we're going to subtract 2 NDTI raster. The change is equals to turbidity date 2 minus of turbidity date 1. So which is going to give us a change detection. So the positive change to increased turbidity, erosion, and runoff. The negative changes to be a clear water, settling, and dilution. And also we're going to create a true color and false color composite. So the true color composite, which includes the combination of red, green, and blue, looks like a natural photo. And the false color composite, which is going to give us the bands using the bands NAR, red and green. The vegetation appears red and water appears dark. So these composites are not used for turbidity calculation but are excellent for visual context and validation. And last is the summary of this analysis. So starting, we're going to prepare an environment and load a study area, and clip the Sentinel bands to river extent, and compute the NDTI NDWI to binary water mask. So compute the NDWI to binary water mask, and convert the mask to vector water boundary. And the next could be to include compute the NDTI over the full scene, and mask the NDTI to water only areas, and apply the stretch and color map for the visualization. And last, to generate a true and false color composite image. And the last could include to compare the two dates for the change detection for the river turbidity analysis in two distinct period of time. So in this video, I have shown you the river turbidity estimation introduction about the different steps involved for calculating the river turbidity analysis using Sentinel-2A imagery in our ArcPy and ArcGIS Pro tutorial for our spatial analysis from basic automation to research grid workflows. So in the next video, we're going to show you how to import the required library and set up the environment for our the river turbidity analysis. So thanks for watching, and make sure that you subscribe to our channel and give us a like.